Well, hello, Playhouse showrunner. Is everything coming along for the next episode of the Playhouse? Oh, Uncle Paul, this is going to be the best Playhouse episode ever, ever, ever. That's great. Well, we do have a few more minutes before the next episode begins, so I know how much you like to play Name That Tune. Would you like to do that, Playhouse showrunner? Oh, Uncle Paul, I would love that. Yes, I love Name That Tune. Oh, yes, please, please. Okay, great. All right, here's the first one. Playhouse
I
showrunner,
know it.
name that tune.
I know it. 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 Oh, Ricochet Rabbit. Ricochet Rabbit.
Excellent. All right. This one might be a little tougher. Playhouse showrunner, name that tune.
Oh, I know it. I know it. I know it. Sweet Polly purebred.
Wow, Playhouse showrunner, you are excellent. All right, we'll do one more. Playhouse showrunner, name that tune.
Oh, I know it. I know it. I know it. I know it. Winsome Witch. Winsome Witch.
I can never stump you, Playhouse showrunner. This episode is meant to be collected and traded. You're in the Playhouse. Welcome to the Playhouse. I'm Uncle Paul, and it's time for our very special hellos. Hello to Rosia, the Sticker Mania family, Ron Martin, Stan Starr, Polly Hewitt, Patricia, Dave Sunstrom, Lux Furlong, Records and Trains, John Malillo, Andy and Tom of Two Legs, Ed Catselvision. Hope we got that right, Ed. Mark Williams, Sideshow Tink, Craig the Record King, Audrey, Bob, and Loretta, Jerome Luby, Matthew Street, and Joe Mayo. Now, if you'd like a special hello, or you'd like to dedicate a special hello to your pet, or a special someone, your husband or your wife, please leave it in the comments below, and we'll say hello in a future episode. And that's our very special hellos for today. Well, as usual, we have something very special today in the Playhouse, so it's time for Object Presentation Artifact Showcase. Well, I love the world of trading card collecting. And I used to collect baseball cards and football cards in my extreme youth. But as soon as I realized and found out that there were trading cards based on television shows that I loved, like The Munsters or Gilligan's Island or The Brady Bunch. And by the way, we'll be focusing on those type of trading cards in a future Playhouse episode. But today, Playhouse members, as usual, we start with the Beatles. And of course, when I found out that there were actually Beatles trading cards made throughout the early 1960s, I was absolutely astounded. And yes, as a completist collector, I had to make sure that I found them all. Because remember, unlike today, you could not get trading card sets all at once. The only way that you could get a set of trading cards was, well, to chew a lot of gum actually, but to buy the pack at your local 5 and 10 or something, and just keep hoping that you wouldn't get duplicates. Hence, that's why really, and that's the way it always was, it was trading cards. You see, because not getting an entire set, like unlike today when you could buy an entire set all at once, and you're not opening up what they call now foil packs. But in those days, you would get a lot of duplicates. So then you would trade them with your friends. So if you had 4 of the same card and your friend had a couple of the exact card that you needed, so then you would trade them back and forth in order to complete your set. So we're starting with the Beatles, of course. Well, that's the only one we're doing today. So the Topps Company was the first one to issue Beatles trading cards. Of course, we know Topps is most famous for, of course, their baseball cards. And of course, what we've talked about previously on the Playhouse, on episode 13, wacky packages. So again, if you like wacky packages, be sure to check out Playhouse episode number 13. So in 1964, the Topps Company issued the first Beatles trading cards. And here's an original wrapper from those trading cards. Because there, it's funny, they don't have them as trading cards. They wrote the Beatles bubblegum. Of course, with the character heads. And of course, right here, it says, Big Twin Chews, Big Color Comics. I think they just took this artwork from something else, from Bazooka Joe. Which again, look up that episode as well on Bazooka Joe Comics on the Playhouse. Because here's Bazooka bubblegum right here. So you got a nice big pink slab of bubblegum in with your trading cards. But I guess this was really rushed. Because again, these came out by late 1964. And the Beatles had only come to America, as all Playhouse members know, in February of 1964. So yes, Topps was fast to get a license and start issuing Beatles trading cards. I'm going to show you all the wrappers at once. We're going to show you there was 3 series of Beatles bubblegum cards. And they were black and white cards. We're going to be showing them to you in a moment. And then they issued, when the Beatles' first motion picture came out, A Hard Day's Night, well, then Topps issued a movie card series on The Hard Day's Night. I love these cards and the look of them, as you'll see in a moment. And then the last series of Topps trading cards of the Beatles were the color photos, and these are known as the Diary series. So there's the famous Des Hoffman photograph. But Paul's hands are down. We always joke here in the Playhouse about the cigarette being airbrushed out, but certainly that's a different pose that Mr. McCartney was striking. All right, let's get to the cards. We have them in our binder. Now, this binder was made by its standard plastics products. Now, these weren't meant for the bubblegum cards, but of course the Playhouse, it's a nice way to keep them. There was never an official, originally, Beatles bubblegum holder. Because again, in those days, most children that were collecting them were teens. They were putting them on their bicycle spokes. They weren't really handling them that well. So you really didn't think about 9-pocket page protectors as we have now here in the Playhouse. But I just thought I housed all my Beatle trading cards, and this is the complete, every Topps card that the company ever issued is all nice in this particular binder. All right, so let's see. So here we go. Here's the first series. And again, these were all just acquired separately throughout the years. I believe it really took me just to have a piece of paper, and I would write down all the numbers that I needed when I would go to like a collector convention or a Beatles convention. And then as you got them, I would cross it off on the piece of paper. It probably took me, I'm not kidding, over 25 years to assemble every one of these cards instead of buying them through sets, you know. So this is, again, the first series. And on the back, they were very rushed. They just put a number here, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I said there were 3. So then they moved on to the second series. So they do say that it's the second series here. And then they have an orange printing here. But the numbering does pick up from, they also have green, I see here. But, right, so they pick up where the first series left off in numbering. As you'll see here, see, this is number 58 in a series of 60 photos. So there was 58, 59, 60. And then when you go to the second series, it picks up at number 61, 62, 63. So I did think that was rather neat of Topps. And then we're going to show you that when they go to the third series as well. See, here's the last card, number 115 of the second series. And then the third series, with here the green printing, starts at number 116 to 117. And that goes all the way to number 165. And that is important. Maybe we'll show you that right now, because it makes sense. Before we continue on to the Hard Day's Night series. All right, we're going to show you the rest of series 3. All right, which we said goes to number 165. So in the first 3 series of Topps bubblegum cards, in 1964, Topps issued 165 different bubblegum trading cards. Now, what I wanted to mention to you, that this was unauthorized. We left off at number 165. Now, some enterprising bootlegger maybe or something, in the 1980s, put together what they called a 4th series. But this was really well done. And the coolest part about this very rare bubblegum series is that it picks up, again, we just said that Topps ended at number 165 on the 3rd series. So this unofficial card series has a fantasy 4th series, and it starts exactly where Topps left off. Remember, this was put together in the 1980s. Again, some unauthorized but extremely creative person made 166 through 215. And they put them, for all these years, they put them in this nice little holder here, and all the nice clean cards. And here's the back, which shows you number 215. So again, even though they were 165 cards from Topps, but if you're a real completist, you seek out this unauthorized 4th series. All right, now to just finish up again with the Topps trading cards. So then we said this is a Hard Day's Night. This was the 4th series. I should be showing you some of the cards as well. Here it is. Because I love this series. Also because the photos here have a slight sepia tone, as they call it, which is like a slight red to the picture. But that's very known in the world of films. So they made the cards look a little more film-like for a Hard Day's Night, Beatles' first motion picture, and the back of the cards, very creative as well. See 16, 17, 18 with the film camera on the top of each card. All right, and then we move on. Now that goes up to there's 54 in that card series, and then we move on to the color cards. I forgot. So there's 2 series of that. So we got to do the math later. I might have said 1 less series. Color cards, and then of course the diary cards. Here are all the color cards. Very nice. Yes, and then we have the diary cards, which have a A after the number. So, Playhouse members, if I said there were only 5 series of trading cards at the beginning of this Playhouse episode, there are actually 6. The first 3, then a Hard Day's Night, the color cards, and the diary cards. But there were only 3 wrappers issued. It's a Ringo alert. Wait a minute. Playhouse members, get your Ringo viewers out. Oh, Ringo seems to really be in trouble. Ringo's about to be hit by the Smith Miller truck. We better get the Popeye emergency kit out. See what's happening. Popeye, go! Ah, thanks, Popeye. Right, well, now that that's all right, we better get back to our trading cards. So, we've looked at the Topps trading cards. Now, this is the Beatles collection. And this was put out by the River Group in 1993. Now, these you could buy, I think you could get these all in one set, but it also they came in what they call the foil packs. No gum at this point, so you didn't have to worry about gum staining on your trading cards. By the way, and here's a fast Playhouse tip, in case you don't know. If you have vintage trading cards, or even the wacky packages that have what they call gum staining from the gum being in the pack, you could easily get that off. Now, don't ask where Uncle Paul learned this, but if you take a woman's nylon stocking, I borrowed one from Uncle Hugh's fiance, Bunny, and you can just wipe the gum staining right off the card if you just put this nylon stocking through your finger and wipe it away. That really works. All right, back to the River Group trading cards. Now, they did offer this binder, which is a beautiful binder to put all the cards in. And they just did, this is, of course, from their entire career. And they're just beautiful, beautiful cards called the Beatles collection. And by then, of course, they had chase cards. Love this picture here of Paul holding the little Beatles fan magazine. And shots from their promo films. And again, they had nice gold embossed chase cards to collect as well. This is really a beautiful set. And you see these cards loose, quite common at collector shows. Now, of course, Yellow Submarine did have their own cards, I believe over in England, cigarette cards, but Playhouse doesn't have any of those examples. But this company, Comic Images Duo Cards, in 1999, authorized, put out a set of Yellow Submarine collector cards. And first they have the 4x6, like almost photograph size. These are beautiful. But these are extra large cards. Really beautiful job. You don't see these cards as often as you do the River Group cards. And then lastly, the company Sports Time did this set, which we might have them in there as well. Now, this is a full box of cards from Sports Time. And this was cool because they had a mail away. Now, these were done in 1996. And if you got these special chase cards, you mailed away. We've shown these before on our Happiness is a White Album Blizzard episode. Each one of these cards came with the gold foil Sports Time seal, and you get each one of the White Album portraits. These are really nice, and it of course has important Beatle facts on the back of each card. All right, we're going to show you this real fast. Not really a trading card, but people love these. Now, these are Chew Bops. These were made in 1982 by, I came up with two companies. One is called Amural Graphics, A-M-U-R-A-L Products, of Naperville, Illinois in the early 1980s, but also one came up as Album Graphics of Illinois. But they sold for 29 cents each. And you go back to the bubble gum, but they replicated each one of the American, of course, Beatle albums, and then inside, the size of this nearly 3-inch album cover, you get a slab of bubble gum shaped as a record. These are really neat and highly collected. Again, these were only 29 cents originally, and this is, of course, the whole display where they had 16 miniature Beatle albums to collect. And also, like, they had 62 to 66. These are the ones, the real oddball ones are my favorites, including, I know Hey Jude is on here as well. People love this album, you know, but we know this came out after the Beatles disbanded. So Chew Bops, a lot of fun, Playhouse members. And now it's time to check the comments ball. Well, this should have been in episode 1, the Beatles starring in A Hard Day's Night. That's Playhouse episode number 1. And actually, that's our most viewed Playhouse episode. So we want to thank everyone who has watched that, especially since it was our first one, where we showcased all memorabilia based on the red design of the United Artists film, The Beatles and a Hard Day's Night. And this is actually just a fan-made notebook that someone made that they sell. But they take an actual album cover, and this is what, and chop it up. This is an original, that's why it has some markings on it. This was a real Beatles United Artists album cover. So then they repurpose it, as they say, and put a spiral around the album cover. But, oh, here's the comments bowl. All right, so here we take a random comment, this really is random, that you've left here for us on the Playhouse. And we shake it up here, and this is about episode 18. We all live in a classic yellow submarine toys. And member Bill Erie commented that he was introduced to the Beatles through the Yellow Submarine film while watching it on his parents' black and white TV in the 1970s. Well, thanks, Bill Erie. And if you want to be in the comments bowl, well, you know what you have to do. You have to please subscribe and comment, of course, to be in the comments bowl. But please subscribe to the Playhouse. Hit the like because it certainly helps. And feel free to share the Playhouse as well. But for now, the Playhouse is closed. Thanks, Joe Friday.